Darth Vader has finally tracked down the rebel soldier that destroyed the Death Star, and he intends to kill him. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read as dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panel, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. This is the first crossover event in the Star Wars comics. Once the Death Star was destroyed, Darth Vader was relegated to assisting a commander on the outskirts of the galaxy. It was his punishment, and it was to get him out of the way while the Emperor was making new apprentices. While he was getting rid of local gangs, Darth Vader was working on his own mission, to find the rebel soldier that was able to defeat him so easily. Meanwhile, Luke has been looking for the Jedi artifacts in an attempt to learn about the Jedi and his heritage, while Han and Leia have been trying to come to terms with each other's goals. But now, Vader has learned the location of the rebel soldier Luke Skywalker, and he's come to remove this problem. Little does he know that this location was linked to him by Aphra, and she got it from one of the Emperor's new apprentices who was attempting to get rid of Vader once and for all. The whole thing was a trap. Darth Vader drops out of lightspeed in front of Vargas Voss, but in front of him are 3 squadrons of X-Wings. Aphra, this had better not be a trap. Then he senses them. They were not expecting him, and Luke Skywalker is here. X-Wings begin opening fire on Vader as he outmaneuvers them, and one by one he begins to drop the X-Wings, and they are in shock. Who is this pilot? Meanwhile, Aphra is trying to call Vader to see what's going on. He severed all communications. He continues dropping the X-Wings, and once they begin launching torpedoes at him, he uses the Force to redirect them and throw them back at their targets. The commanders are in shock. This is one man. How is he dropping all of them? But Vader was right. Luke is there, and he can sense him. It's Darth Vader. Do you have a visual confirmation on that, Red 5? I don't need it. It's him. It doesn't matter. He's grossly outnumbered and will surround him and coordinate an attack. I'm sorry, but we won't be able to stop him unless. And Luke breaks from formation and sends his X-Wing straight at Darth Vader. As he gets closer, Darth Vader prepares his maneuver, and then he senses Skywalker. So they crash into each other. Both the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter begin spiraling out of control as they fall into the orbit of the planet, and the Rebel Alliance reports, Vader down! Vader down! They then all fly down to the surface where there is a secret Rebel refueling base, and the base reports back to Princess Leia that they are mobilizing to get Vader, and Han looks at her. That's where Luke went, Princess. Vader is the priority here, Han. Yeah? Well, Vader isn't my priority. I'm gonna go save my friend. Han, Leia, Chewie, and C-3PO all climb up onto the Millennium Falcon and they take off for Vargas Voss. Since she can't get a hold of Darth Vader, Aphra loads up with BT and 000 to find Darth Vader and explain she didn't arrange this trap. And back on the planet, Darth Vader isn't even slightly injured as he is destroying every Y-Wing that comes in to bomb him while he's walking towards Luke Skywalker. He will end this, and no Rebel Alliance will get in his way. But over with Luke, he can see the Y-Wings being taken out of the sky and he realizes this is his fault. So he decides he's gonna head for Darth Vader. He will end this finally! Vader continues walking until an entire army is around him, and he pulls out his lightsaber. All I'm surrounded by is fear and death. Darth Vader starts by setting off the grenades on every soldier's chest, and then he deflects a tank blast with his lightsaber. The soldiers don't even stand a chance. Meanwhile, Han, Leia, Chewie, and C-3PO have all arrived, and they are briefing Leia on how bad the situation is, while Han gets information on Luke's last known location. And Aphra looks up the occupants of the ship that just arrived. Leia Organa, Princess Survivor of Alderaan. Han Solo, not solo, now in a team, and a smuggler of some manner. An R2 unit and a protocol droid. So she comes up with a plan to win back Darth Vader's favor as they land, and she spray paints 000 a brand new color. Luke finds himself walking through the ruins of the Jedi Temple, and he begins getting images of people who were here before him, like Ben Kenobi. When out of literally nowhere, C-3PO walks over. Master! R2 begins to freak out, and Luke tells him to calm down, it's only C-3PO. When suddenly C-3PO shocks Luke. Luke hits the ground and Aphra walks out. She spray painted 000 gold. And now, they'll kill R2 as he steps up to protect Luke. R2 pulls out his zapper, telling Aphra, BT, and 000 to back off, so BT pulls out rockets, miniguns, and homing missiles. R2 promptly screams and flees as everything around him explodes. 000 picks up Luke and Aphra leads the way back to the ship, but as they leave, Han calls out for her to stop and drop the boy. He arrived and took a sniper position, but Aphra tells him, what is he going to do? If he shoots her, 000 will kill the boy. 000 then reports, Mistress Aphra, the smuggler Han Solo has a known associate, a Wookiee, and as he says that, Chewbacca rips the arms off of 000. Aphra leaps out of the way, taking shots at Han Solo while Luke hits the ground ground and begins coming to his senses. He looks around and he sees R2 screaming as BT is chasing him, so as they come running past him, he gives BT a firm kick. That's enough out of you. But BT isn't done yet. He can fly and he opens fire on both Luke and R2. Meanwhile, Chewbacca is smacking 000 over and over with his own arm until 000 gets a free moment to inject a xenotox into Chewbacca, disorienting him. Over with Han and Aphra, neither can get a clear shot, and that's when Aphra sees a wasp worm nest over Han's head, and he sees one over her. They both shoot it and find themselves covered in wasp worms. They run out screaming and they literally smack into each other. Over with Chewbacca, 000 is preparing to drain him of his blood until Luke cuts off 000's other arm with his lightsaber. Luke, Chewbacca, and R2 all begin walking out of the area they were in, and they find Han and Aphra out cold on the ground. As they prepare to leave, BT and 000 walk back out. They aren't done, and with Aphra out cold, there's no one to give them orders, so they'll just kill everyone here. It's R2 that saves the day by squirting oil into BT's sensors, and he begins shooting everyone uncontrollably. While Luke, Han, Chewie, and R2 make a break for it, BT hits the rock face near them, burying both 000 and BT finally. Meanwhile, back with Leia, she's leading the next unit in its attack on Darth Vader, and while she thought she was sneaking up on him, he ended up sneaking up on her. You'll pay for everything that you've done. If not today, then one day. I know this. You misunderstand, Princess. Your end will not be like your precious Alderaan. That was far too swift. Then Vader stops. You think you can ambush a Dark Lord of the Sith? Leia sees her chance and she runs for it, calling Darth Vader crazy. But her fleeing was his plan. He wants her to tell everyone where he is so he can end this. She runs off and into C-3PO, who has her communicator, so she dials it in. Bomb the area with everything that they have and use her as the signal. Oh, my princess, that'll be certain death. It is, and hopefully it will be for him as well. Tell Luke and Han I'm sorry when you see them. Back with Luke and Han, they begin loading up into the Millennium Falcon and they call up Leia. But C-3PO answers and tells them that her plan is to sacrifice herself, when suddenly they are struck by another ship. Dr. Aphra called in a friend from their last adventure to stop Han, the bounty hunter Wookiee Chrysanthemum. Chewie jumps the other Wookiee and their battle begins, and seeing that they have it under control, Han tells Luke to go get Leia out of there now. They have this. But as Chrysanthemum lifts Chewie off the ground, Han looks a little worried. I hope. To make the situation even worse, BT and 000 aren't done yet, and the first thing they do is come across C-3PO, so 000 takes his arms. They're a pretty snug fit. They home in on Vader's location and they prepare to fire, and suddenly TIE fighters begin shooting them all down. The Imperial Army has arrived, led by Commander Carbon, the Emperor's potential apprentice that arranged this whole thing. Darth Vader steps up to him. Carbon, it's all making sense now, isn't it? How your rival set you up and used you to eliminate the rebels of Vargas Vaz, so I could swoop in and claim the prize for myself. Go find the boy and take the princess as well. No. And with that, Darth Vader uses the Force to throw all of the troops back. You will win no prizes today, Carbon, except a quick death. And then they both leap into a lightsaber duel, while Leia makes a break for it. Back with Chewie, he's getting beat on by the Wookiee until he's knocked unconscious and falls on top of Han. The Wookiee walks over to Han Solo and breaks his gun and then throws Han away while he gets a rock ready to smash Chewie's head. R2 sees that this is going to end badly for his friends, so he launches a needle at Chewie, giving him an adrenaline boost, and he smashes the rock over the other Wookiee's head. With his newfound strength, he pummels him over and over. Meanwhile, Luke finds himself in the path of the stormtroopers, and so do BT and 000. So they all begin to fight. And back with Darth Vader, Carbon isn't even a match for Vader as he's cutting off his limbs one at a time. He runs and hides, and that's when Vader hears the voices of ghosts, of Obi-Wan telling him that he's failed. He has become the thing that he hates. Seeing Vader going crazy, Carbon jumps in and begins throwing Vader back. Chewie begins beating on the bounty hunter Wookiee again until he finally gets an uppercut and takes down Chewie. He then reaches out and grabs Han by the throat. Back with Vader, he's beginning to win again, and while he is, Leia is still there aiming a pistol at Vader's head. But C-3PO is calling for her, asking for her help. Han, Chewie, Luke, and R2, everyone's in trouble and they need her. Her friends need her. So she lowers her pistol and tells him to hold on, she's on the way. Darth Vader begins getting his own call at this point. Aphra is telling him that Carbon's guys have Skywalker and they are loading him up onto their ship. And realizing that Leia told him to hold on till she gets there, C-3PO gets right in the path of one of the Wookiee's punches, allowing the Wookiee to punch through C-3PO's chest, electrocuting the Wookiee and disabling C-3PO. Darth Vader realizes that he needs to end the fight with Carbon quickly, so he stops fighting and uses the Force to lift Aphra's ship up and throw it at Carbon. Aphra begins to panic as she loses control and she ejects out of the ship in a hurry. So boss, you cost me a ship. Am I back in your good graces? It all depends on the boy. Vader then spies the Imperial ship leaving with Luke and he holds it in place, causing it to crash. Han sees it landing. The kid's the luckiest. Let's move. And everyone heads to Luke's location. As they get there, Luke is overjoyed to see Han and everyone. And that's when Aphra gets there. None of you are leaving. Vader wants you. And she calls him up. Luke looks at her. You're with Vader? You don't know anything, do you? Han asks her. Oh, the things I could tell you. So, Leia knocks her out. She says she knows some things, so let's bring her. They all load back up on the Millennium Falcon, and they take off into space with Vader looking at them as they leave. Luke is sad because he knows that he'll never be able to get back to that temple, and there is probably so much that it could have told him. But that is the end of Vader Down, and our heroes are all back on their own adventures. Aphra has now been captured by the main Star Wars crew, and the series does continue with them questioning her. And Vader is going back to find out what's going on with the apprentices and the Emperor. I thought it was a great little crossover event. I wish there was more resolution to it, but I guess you really can't have that because we have movies where they actually fight. I'm Benny the Comicstorian. Follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian. Follow me on Instagram at Comicstorian. And if you enjoy our comic book readings, then go check out our gaming channel, Eligible Monster Gaming, where we do video game comic books, we do unnecessary censorship, and we do Let's Plays. I'll see you guys later.